you've been injured in an accident, one thing leads to another. Your injury leads to treatment. Treatment leads to hospital bills. Bills lead to debt. Debt leads to stress. The advocates can help relieve that stress. Having an advocate attorney on your side leads to faster resolutions, fair outcomes, and a peaceful recovery for you. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. And as always, The Monty Show is presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Plain and simple, they understand that when you've been in an accident, it's one of the worst days of your life. Give all the stress, give the claims process, the arguing with the adjusters, give all of that to the advocates. You focus on getting back to the best version of yourself. And the best part is you never reach in your pocket to pay the advocates. In fact, you get clear, risk-free advice 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com because you don't pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. So what do you have to lose? Talk to an injury attorney live. No chat bots or AI, just clear risk-free advice at theadvocates.com. Good Wednesday to you. A lot going on. Huge basketball game in the Big 12 tonight. Huge basketball game last night. Somehow the Tangless Wildcats at K-State won a game last night. Tonight, to probably nobody's surprise, Arizona is a massive favorite at McHale Center against BYU. 11.5 points on ESPN. Jake, do you feel like KY, the hipster bro? And I don't know why everything in Provo land has to be about hipster bros.
Everything is backwards snapbacks,
Yeah.
tight joggers, tight
joggers,
shirts,
joggers,
that kind of vibe. Yeah.
Right. I feel like KY hipster bro. He kind of feels like a broken bro right now. He feels like a guy. I think it's strong to say their season's over, but do you feel like he feels a little defeated right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the Richie news comes out and, you're instantly put in a place as a team and as a group where you're
Lionel Richie?
Yeah, Lionel
Guy
Richie. You get the news about Buddy's ACL and you're all collectively like, all right, well, we just need to make the best of it now. And I feel like, again, the conversation went from, hey, well, we're not playing as well as we should be. This team is underperforming, to now we've instantly shifted into like full, hey, us against the world. If we don't have Richie, what's the team going to be like? Other guys are going to, it's just all the classic coach speak that you know and love. But yeah, I mean, if you're KY, you don't exactly sound like you're thinking you're going to go out and win a national championship this year.
I think where I draw the most excitement is I don't know, man. I think I do better in situations like this, back against the wall type of mentality. I've kind of operated that way my whole life. And, I'm as energized as I've ever been as a coach. And I'm really taking this challenge head on. And I know a lot of people are writing us off, and I'm kind of, relishing in that, and so are our guys. And when you got a group of guys like we do who are good young men, I think that they're going to rely on each other and band together, and I'm excited to see what this iteration of it looks like.
Oh, I mean, yeah, boy. Wow.
Listen, and here's the deal.
I'm so after listening to that KY type pep talk. I'm wow.
Look, I mean, KY
it feels
needs,
like
Dude, KY needs some of the juice. That's the problem.
It feels like, they just need guys to step up and play for each other.
Yeah, it's definitely hard because, he brings so much shot making. He brings so much offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, and he was just like low-key, like our vocal leader, a vet on the team. But, I have confidence in the guys to step up. I think Mook can step up some more, hit some shots. Tyler, Mihai came off the bench. I think everybody just has a chance, and everybody's going to step into their roles.
We're just going to step up. It's a next man up mentality.
First of all, can Bro get some Mucinex? Can Bro get some Mucinex? Did you hear that? Let me use his words. Low key nasal clearing during the clip here. Did you hear that?
Oh yeah. I also think it's interesting, and there is a big conversation around AJ Dibansa. There is a big conversation around AJ. And I think one of the things that's so interesting is this belief, somehow beyond belief, that he's going to still be the number 1 or the number 2 pick in the draft. And, he is NBA ready. And I am finally not the only one saying that AJ Dibansa is not NBA ready.
AJ Dibansa is not fucking like that, bro. I believe that this is one of the best freshman classes that we've ever seen. Is it full of franchise guys? Yes, that you can start to build around and see what happens. Do they have a generational talent in this draft? Fuck no. AJ Dibansa is not doing anything different than what Brandon Miller was doing when he was at Alabama. He's the same fucking player.
Tell us how you really feel, Perk. Yeah, seriously.
Perk getting after it. But I think we're starting to see that this belief in AJ needing to go back to BYU is now becoming pervasive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's becoming pervasive because he's not ready to go to the NBA. He's not ready to be that guy. And as much as I love watching AJ Dibansa play ball, I do not believe that AJ Dibansa is ready to be one of the top picks in the NBA draft, Jake. I just don't see that.
Yeah, I think that the hard part with AJ, as far as the conversation is concerned, is that you have these two camps, and the supporter of AJ Dibansa who looks at his numbers and sees the impact he has on the game is going to tell you that he's one of the best players in college basketball. He typically is carrying them on a night in, night out basis, even though the numbers say there's been more inconsistency than that. And I think I think the best part about BYU and the worst part about BYU is that not everybody watches you every single night. Like you will get those games. Like tonight's game, everyone's going to watch. He knows that. Everyone knows that it's a huge game.
Huge game.
So everyone's going to watch this game. But then there are other games like the Oklahoma State game where no one's going to watch, and they just know that you dropped the ball there. And
it's Okie light, please.
Yeah, so it's
if
like
you don't mind.
It's the best and the worst part about playing at BYU, and I think that what's difficult is that AJ Dibansa is the classic case in NBA circles, in my opinion, and in college basketball circles, of a player where you have to make a decision how you want to look at him and how you want to talk about him. If you're just going to talk about the stat sheet and you're just going to look at his build, you're going to say, yeah, he's an NBA player. But if you watch the game and you look at how he impacts the game, if you look at the emotional swings with the squad while he's out there, if you look at the defensive tenacity while he's out there, the biggest thing is the inconsistency on offense. I just think that there's a lot of growth that can still happen at the college level. But again, this conversation around whether he should go back to BYU or not, for me, is difficult because it's like, yeah, from a basketball X's and O's, he definitely should go back to BYU, of course. But are you really going to say to this kid, like, yeah, whether you should or shouldn't be, if someone's going to draft you 1 or 2 overall, like that's a good place to be. So it's like, it's this thing where it's like, yeah, like go make the money, but in 5 years, if you flame out and you're struggling, I'm not going to feel bad for you.
Oh,
And
just
that's
come on
what's
back
hard.
to BYU. If you flame out in the NBA,
Yeah,
just come back to
Betty-Yako that thing,
BYU.
dude. Just Betty-Yako that thing. It's fine. No big deal.
Betty-Yako that ass. Yeah, I think that's the issue. I think it is going to be really interesting to see what happens, because I think what happened with JT Toppin last night in Texas Tech, this league's wide open. And I think that BYU is not done by a long stretch. And I think when you start looking at where the Big 12 is as a basketball league, it's been several years since it's been this open. And I think with Toppin and Texas Tech's loss, I think you start looking at Arizona State last night. You just begin to understand that these are winnable games. Going to McHale Center is one of the most daunting, challenging environments that you're going to play in. But if nothing else, this is a very winnable game, because you have a major injury at Arizona. And now when you start looking at where BYU is, they also lose Richie Saunders, which I don't believe you can replace him. It's just my opinion. But I think you can still win games without Richie Saunders. And I think tonight you begin to prove that. And if we learned anything from the humiliation of North Carolina last night, it doesn't matter who you're playing. You can lose that game. And BYU's got to go to McHale Center tonight with that mentality. But I'm going to die on the hill that if AJ DeBansa wants to be the very best player he can be in the NBA, he needs to come back to BYU for another year.
Yeah.
Or he will never realize his top end in the NBA, because he is not polished. He is not sharp. And when you are that guy and you're drafted first or second, which my guess is he will be, you better be ready to rock and roll right now, because guys are not going to be patient.
Yeah, my biggest thing for AJ is I actually like where the I don't mind where his game is right now when he's playing his best game. But that's my precise issue with him as a basketball player right now, is that I don't feel like on a regular basis we get his best. And I wanted to find this, but like your best, if you're AJ DeBansa, is a different thing each night because of who you are for the team. You're not a 3-and-D guy. Right. 3-and-D guy's best game is, holding his matchup to probably less than 10 points. And then, hey, if you get some looks out of the corner or off the wing and, you can be a 45% shooter from three, that's great. It's our job to get you the ball, but some nights you're not going to get the ball. So it's a different role. And that's what I think people forget about in the league. And I'm not a big LeBron guy, but this is something LeBron has talked about for years, that the great NBA teams right now, the guys on the team embrace their role and they play their role at a really high level. And AJ, like in this game tonight, I need a virtuoso out of AJ. If you're going to win this game, AJ DeBansa's got to be locked in on both ends of the floor. I can't have 10-minute stretches where the guy's not getting to the line, where the guy's not, putting Arizona in foul trouble like that. Because that to me is how you get to Arizona. If you're just gonna play straight up with Arizona, if you're just going to allow them to run their offense and you take it easy on their defense, they're going to beat you. They're a good team. They're a mature team. They know how to move the ball. They know how to work matchups. So if tonight when BYU possesses the ball, you have to, you have to push them. You've got to look to get fouled, look to create the contact. I don't want to hear the one thing I don't want to be talking about tomorrow out of this game that I'm terrified about is, we didn't get a whistle here. We didn't get a whistle there. Like, man, BYU fans posting pictures on X about, an Arizona defender's hand on AJ's arm when he's going up to dunk it. I don't want to hear about officiating in this game, regardless of how good or bad it is. You have a very straightforward mission tonight, and that is go in there and play your best game with the guys on the floor. And hey, if you play your best game and you still lose by 10 points, I have no problem with that. And I'll say that tomorrow. But I'm telling you, if you come out tonight, and I'm going to watch this game, you come out tonight and you turn the ball over and you look lost on offense again, and you're a mess on defense, and you try to run that crap zone you tried to experiment with, you're going to get run out of this building. And that to me is what you should be focused on if you're watching this game.
Yeah, totally agree. I think BYU will be very competitive in this game. I want to see AJ DeBanza come out and be a dog. I want to see him be, I don't care if he's overly aggressive. I want to see them run the entirety of their offense through him.
Bro,
Every
I'd rather
trip
him be
down,
over aggressive.
Yeah,
honestly.
every trip down, AJ DeBanza has to touch the ball, and I hope he shoots. I hope he shoots until he has no arms left to shoot. I mean, that to me is big. Hello, Phil Venzer.
Oh, we're going to talk about Buddy.
Did you guys see Mick Cronin?
Dude, this is one of the most incredible bites I've seen this season.
My guy seems unhappy at UCLA, and he has been perpetually unhappy.
He's a curmudgeon. There's no doubt.
Well, he's just a red ass more than a curmudgeon. He is a guy who has railed against the Big Ten. Listen, on the basketball side of things and largely on the football side of things, the Pac-12 West Coast contingent of the Big Ten absolutely has gotten KY'd. Like they have absolutely gotten piped when it comes to scheduling. And I'm here to tell you that Mick Cronin ain't about that life.
Should out in the student section chanting Booker's name.
I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section.
I just meant the overall the way that you.
I would like to give you a kudos for the worst question I've ever been asked.
Did you like
You should take it.
the preparation of the...
You really think I care about the other team's
No, I don't.
student
I don't
section?
think you care about the other.
Are you raising your voice at me?
No, I'm just.
Yeah, you are.
talking.
Yeah, you are. Come on, dude.
I'm not raising.
Come on. Yes, you are. Everybody's standing here listening to you. Everybody. This is on camera. They can hear you. I answered the question. I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section. I coach UCLA. I don't care about Michigan State students. I mean, who cares?
Are you raising your voice at me?
No. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are. It's on camera. Fucking idiot. You're not on my level.
Are you raising your voice at me?
Just the red assery of it.
And you know what? Let's play it one more time. But when you look at him getting after the reporter, notice the smile on his face. Notice the enjoyment of berating the reporter here.
Should out in the student section chanting Booker's name.
I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section.
I just meant the overall the way that you.
I would like to give you a kudos for the worst question I've ever been asked.
Did you like
You should take it.
the preparation of the...
You really think I care about the other team's
No, I don't.
student
I don't
section?
think you care about the other.
Are you raising your voice at me?
No, I'm.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Come on, dude.
I'm not raising.
Come on. Yes, you are. Everybody's standing here listening to you. Everybody. This is on camera. They can hear you. I answered the question. I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section. I coach UCLA. I don't care about Michigan State students. I mean, who cares?
Come on, dude. Come on, dude.
Dude, come on.
Come on, dude.
Like it's such
incredible.
a good. It's Mick Cronin at his finest. That is, yeah, that is who this guy is. That is who this dude is, and this is very different than going all Tang. And I saw that comparison on the old tweet machine last night, so instantly it has no credibility. But this is so much better than Jerome Tang. This is, I mean, it's incredible. You need more Mick Cronin in your life. You need this to be how those stupid meetings that you never needed to have in the first place at work. This is, those meetings that could have been a text message and certainly could have been an email, but probably, just a text message. Those meetings are, everybody's watching and listening to you. Come on, dude. Right? How many times have you wanted to say to your boss, come on, dude?
Come on, dude.
Yeah, like, why are we having a meeting for this?
I want to compare this because I actually, I agree with you. I don't like the Jerome Tang comparison. Like, Mick Cronin was getting after this dude, but look at how pissed off and just utterly dreadful Jerome Tang looks right here.
This was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. Like I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. You know, it is just ridiculous. We got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will get this thing right. I have no answer, no words. So y'all got 2 questions. So whoever want to ask 2 questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability right now. But right now, like I'm like pissed.
Yeah, and then they fired your ass, and then the boys promptly went down to Koresh country, beat the hell out of Baylor. So I'm gonna say your tang went bad.
Yeah, tang
in Manhattan. I'm gonna say that Mick Cronin's a beaut. This is my dude. Like, he is officially my spirit animal. I can't tell you
and
how many times.
The fact that he ejected his own player last night is absolutely incredible, dude.
I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to say, come on, dude. Like, I cannot tell you how many fucking times I've wanted to say, come on. Like, hey, man, look, can we have a meeting over this? Come on, dude. No, we can't have a meeting. No. Like, I need Mick Cronin to stand by my side. And when somebody's like, hey, you got a minute? Come on, dude.
Come on, dude. Are you guys going to voice it, man?
Like, that is the entirety. Like, if I'm a teacher, I'm going to, like, and this kid's like, hey, man, I forgot my homework. Come on, dude.
Come on, dude.
No, you didn't. You just didn't do it. Right? Like, you just didn't do it. I'm telling you, it is so good. Mick Cronin is what's right in the world.
That literally
just
literally made the show worth doing today. That Mick Cronin situation is incredible.
We need more. We need less. Am I going to say this? Am I going to say this out? We need less Tang and more Cronin.
Yeah,
in our lives. Right? Like, that's the whole thing.
100%. 100%.
What is okay? Why do I read Marcus's messages live? What is this 21 times a month thing that Nightmare Bro keeps talking about? Did he say it again today?
You don't know what the 21 times a month reference is, dude? Come on.
21, can you do something for me?
21 times. Come on, dude.
Bro,
right?
how do
like,
you
this
not
is
know
perfect.
this, Marcus?
Come on, dude.
Come on, dude.
Like, what?
For men to have healthy jewels.
Your third leg was just phenomenal.
You need to expel greatness 21 times a month.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that.
The biggest load that we've seen.
21 times a month. Oh, I have a pulled muscle in my upper back. Dude, speaking of happy endings, I need a massage in the worst way possible. Anyway, the point is, amazing Mick Cronin. Yeah. So many new drops for the show. Thanks, Mick. You know.
Well, that's why he did it. I mean, he was thinking of the Monty Show and, wanted to help the show.
Marcus, DM me. I'll send pics to explain. Oh, my God. Yeah, welcome to the Monty Show. We're off to a hell of a start. Big Daddy Magic, first one in today. My member for 32 months.
Damn,
Big Daddy
dude.
Magic. And I would play the video, but you can barely hear the audio, so I can't really play it. But Big Daddy Magic stood up in front of the city council last night or recently because he had on the Bills sweatshirt we all bought him. Stood up in front of the city council and demanded that they name a public park in Salt Lake City after the Monty Show.
Come on, dude.
I swear to God, he did that. And if the video, if you could hear it,
be Monty Park. That's what it should be.
It's what it should be. That's what it should be. Marcus is a boss. He does not go solo. He uses the craft method. He's actually well married. He's well married. I told you guys, Marcus is this. He's living the life he's well to do. He drives the fastest Porsche Cayenne available.
Dilly.
And his wife is hot. Right? His wife is hot. He lives in arguably one of the best cities in America, which I'm not going to tell you which one it is. But Marcus is living the dream, dude.
Yes.
And he doesn't need to worry about self-love on this show. Marcus does not. You know, guy's living the dream. Sports television executive, yes. The guy's living the dream. Absolutely living the dream. Anyway, you're welcome. I thought the Mick Cronin thing. Yeah, what did you make of Mick Cronin ejecting his own player?
Yeah, I disagreed with it. I felt like, you know, the chase down block while you were down double digits, you know, I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I at least the kid was making an effort, you know. But, you know, it was deemed too much contact, you know.
Well, you're getting torched. Okay, so what happened is UCLA went to Izzoland and got absolutely blown up. I think, what was it, 80? It was like 80-50. Like, yeah. I don't remember the final score. They got
dominated, dude.
Right, they lost by 20-something points.
Yeah.
And late in the game, I think it was Jamerson tries to get a hustle block, I guess, at the end of it. And I think it's clearly a flagrant foul. I mean, I don't know what you got. If you guys saw it, like, Jake, did you actually see the play?
Yeah, I did. I mean, he I didn't think the hand contact was the flagrant portion. The flagrant portion was just the speed at which the foul took place. And
the end result of it, the swing of the arm to the back of the head, like it is. I mean, it's a lot of contact when you're down that big. It just let the kid dunk the ball. I mean, he clearly grabs him.
I don't know. Part of me, like, I don't even disagree that yeah, you're down big, probably, you know, run him down, but don't commit the foul. Okay, I can get down with that. Totally get it. You know, it's not going to be a difference making play. It's not like you're down 1 and, you know, you got 10 seconds left and you got to commit the foul or whatever. Like, I get it.
But to Jamerson's defense, he did try to get the ball.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to hurt the guy. I mean, he just, I think that. And this is my struggle with Mick Cronin ejecting his own player. Like, what do you want? Like, so the message is, hey, always play hard, always get after it. Don't look at the scoreboard. You're always playing hard. That's what this kid did. But the problem is it turned into a flagrant, and it just wasn't executed properly. And so Mick got frustrated with him, but obviously
you can't
Mick
hip check a guy. I'm looking at the replay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even disagree that
it's a really dangerous foul.
Yeah, it's a poor
really
foul.
Dangerous foul.
But I guess what the conversation for me is not whether it's a flagrant or not. The foul is the foul, right? Like, I agree on the foul portion. The conversation to me is more why that was the message to the kid. Like, you ran his ass off the floor for playing hard, even though they were down. And I don't know. I guess it's just very conflicting, right? Like, the messaging to the players in any sport is always, doesn't matter. Like, run out the ground ball, you know, play to the whistle, you know, play to the end of, like, that's what we're always telling these kids. And then he got mad at him in this instance. So I don't know. My feeling is if Mick had the chance to do it again, he probably doesn't run his player off the floor, but he was probably so pissed off from the game that he probably just, you know, took it out on Buddy. So it is what it is.
It did feel a little, and I'm trying to it felt a little much.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the antics I think that people are comparing to Jerome Tang, but I just don't have that much issue with it. I guess at the end of the day, I just think it was a really dangerous play.
Yeah, I mean, I think the funny part about comparing it to Tang is that I didn't even think Tang should have been fired for what he said. I mean, you.
I would agree.
Like, you were getting after your players, but what do you expect the guy to say? I mean, would you rather your head coach, you know, just be indifferent and say, just coach, speak the thing to death? I mean, that's what I struggle with Jerome getting fired is like, dude, like, what else is he supposed to do there? Like, his players are not putting in the effort required. It's just not happening. So with Mick, it's more of a thing of like, hey, you were losing and you did it in a public fashion on the floor during the game. And then, you got after that reporter. So I don't know. It's two different scenarios. I don't think that you can compare one to the other, but I just think that Mick Cronin is a legend for his enjoyment, his clear enjoyment of roasting reporters and kind of torturing them for the questions they ask. That is, I am absolutely here
for our pleasure.
Yeah,
for our pleasure.
100%, dude.
Come on, dude.
Come on.
Marcus would also like to clarify that any man who's married should probably be exceeding 21 times a month in self-love. And
Dick Hammer.
I'm just saying, he's not wrong.
Yeah,
he's not wrong. All right, swimming start to the show. Biggest Monty Show secret: Marcus is the ultimate secret James Burner account.
Right? Yeah, sure.
I guess I just I don't. Do guys still deny that?
What?
The self-love on a family
know.
show, you can't deny that, right? Like,
I don't think so.
Dudes are popping,
I mean, you have to.
How do you not?
How do you not?
Okay. I just want to make sure because
I mean, if you're in any type of performance-based industry, not even just sales, but anything that requires you to work, like, I mean, it's like the Wolf of Wall Street, right? I mean, you're once before lunch, once after lunch, and once before dinner, as he said in the movie. I mean, that's,
and it's the 3-finger thing.
Yeah, it's not this. It's the other 3. Yeah, obviously.
Come on, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what do you mean? Let's say they have got to get Mick Cronin out of UCLA. I don't think they do. Do you fire him?
No.
Don't fire him.
Come on, dude.
Schwinger, Jake looks like he's participating in the Winter Ozempics. How many LBs are you down, brah?
18.
How are you doing with Zepbound?
Fine now. Yeah, smooth sailing now. Just cruising along, man.
Zepbound 5.
Yeah, Zepbound 5, the second level. Yeah, smooth sailing, man. Just it's been fine. Honestly, I feel good. Like, sleeping pretty good. I kind of, again, as I said before, I feel like once you know the rules of engagement around eating, you're in a much better place. Like as an example, if you can find a way to not eat after 5 o'clock, or I would say the latest 6 o'clock, given that we go to bed at like 8:30, you're gonna be fine. If you,
dude, 8:30 is such a difference maker.
Oh, it's miles. Dude, there are times, and it's not every night. Most nights I lay down around 8:30. I look at my phone. I make sure that I've got all my bases covered, all that stuff. And then I'll usually, lights off, phones off by 9 o'clock most nights. But there are times where there are times where I'm just exhausted and I'm like, dude, like this got to be. I need like 8 hours tonight, and I don't give a damn. If that means
I'm gonna have to, baby. Like, I know you want to hang out tonight. I'm going to bed at like 2:30 this afternoon, so.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm gonna hit the hay a little. I'm gonna hit the hay a little earlier today.
Yeah, like it's. I'm just telling you, man, and it makes a world of literally different person with 8+ hours of sleep versus 6. It's wild.
Yeah, it is. It's brutal, but you'll also lose more weight when you sleep more, right? And your biggest issue is you're not getting a lot of exercise right now. And that's the hardest part. Like I'm at least, like I had a bad day physically exercising yesterday and I still got 5,000 steps in. Now it's also 35 degrees and sleeting in Seattle. Right. So
same,
like it's brutal here.
Yeah.
And yet it's just the way of life. Like last night, Mrs. Monty and she got home from work. And it was cold and it was windy. There was a small break in the rain. We took the dog for the nightly walk, and you still have to do it. Like you make time for the things you care about. But it's why I always tell people Zepbound is not an easy button. Zepbound is not an easy button by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
It is perplexing at times. It is like I got on the scale today and I gained like 0.6 pounds. You figure it out.
Well, you also come to understand that like I feel like people who just initially when you get on Zepbound, you think, oh, like I'm going to see this massive and consistent drop in weight. Like I'm going to do this for like 90 days straight or like a certain window, and like every day I'm going to lose, and that's just not how it works. What you find is that you get to, and I would say I'm in this phase, like again, I'm in that 18 to 20 pounds down range, and my body is definitely getting used to the level I'm on. But at the same time, I also feel like while the number maybe isn't going down, my composition's changing. And I think that's what you have to understand too, is like, you're going to see that your body changes without you actually cutting the weight. And then you'll kind of have a breakthrough, and then you'll start cutting again. And so I just think it's definitely like a patience thing. It's definitely like hey, like try to do your best to play within these parameters thing to get it to work correctly. But as far as like ease of use, I think it's one of the easiest things that you can do. I think it's helpful, works, like, and then, yeah, I'm down that much without really ever going to the gym or ever getting like strenuous work in, which is unfortunate, but just the case right now.
Yep, I agree. All right. Speaking of weight loss, don't forget, use the promo code Monty to get 20% off at checkout at buckedup.com. Buckedup.com. Every morning I sit here and I tell you I'm drinking the old creatine monohydrate. If you are not taking creatine every day, you're doing life wrong, because it is the most studied supplement in the history of the world. Legitimately, that is not an exaggeration. And the mental health benefits that you get out of creatine, the mind, the brain, the everything. Not to mention, hey, it's going to help you with being physically fitter. It's going to help you if you're a lifter. It certainly helps your athletic performance. All of that stuff. And I just am telling you, you've got to be taking creatine. And if you're not, you're doing it wrong. Get 20% off creatine, all of your supplements, your pre-workouts, your essential amino acids. 1 scoop of essential amino acids, 10 milligrams of creatine every morning to start my day. It makes a huge difference. Get it at buckedup.com. Use a promo code Monty. Does college football need a commissioner? This is fascinating to me, because I think we inarguably have massive systematic issues in college football. We have talked about this single entity, and we broke the story last fall. The Big Ten and the SEC were very close to an agreement to create a new entity. The Big 12 and the ACC were on board as well. That would have revolutionized the way college football on its own was handled. And this entity, as we told you, it's on the channel. Go back and check it out if you like. But this entity, as we told you, was all about creating a system that allowed college football to begin again and thrive and put an end to all of these lawsuits, an end to eligibility things, NIL things, back payments of NIL things, would have ended all of that. And Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey could not get on the same page about the direction of college football once that entity was formed. It has created a huge, huge break in the forward momentum of college football, because the two guys that are going to make these decisions essentially are Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti, leading their constituents in the Big Ten and the SEC. They have all the power. They have all the voting shares. It is the system that we currently live under. But the question continues to be asked: who should be the commissioner of college football? And I guess the question is, and it's not really a question, I don't think, and in the comment section, I'd love to hear from you guys on this. Do you believe we need one person, a commissioner, a CEO? Do you think we need one person leading college football, Jake?
Yeah, I think that, college football definitely needs someone that, it can follow, no doubt. And that, the reason that matters is because it unifies the sport. If everyone can get an agreement on like, hey, this is our leader, this is our spokesperson, and I think that it's not really like leader in the sense that they're gonna make policy on their own or they're gonna like do all this stuff on their own, but just leader in the sense that it's like you're not gonna get these stories of like, low end FBS conference sending letters to conference or like Congress or like, you're not going to get like these one-off little pods of groups or whatever trying to affect change in their own way. And that kind of throws a wrench in things. Like you're just going to get more organized and more like kind of everyone in one direction. And I think that, everyone points to Nick Saban as sort of the guy. I don't know if Nick Saban has the juice in the tank to be that guy. He's older. I like Nick a lot, obviously. If he was 50 years old instead of 60, 70, I think that would be a legitimate conversation. But I do think that whoever this person inevitably winds up being is going to be, a veteran in the game that is widely respected, that doesn't have really a dog in the fight per se from a conference affiliation standpoint. Because that's what makes it difficult is that if you said, okay, well, hey, Greg Sankey's the commissioner of college football. Well, everyone's immediately going to say, oh, well, man, he's just out for the SEC and, there's collusion there and corruption and like that's the noise. But if you can find someone like, again, everyone and their mom always wants to say, well, man, Josh Pate is this great voice in college football. And I agree, he does a great job, but I don't think he's close enough to it to where he would have the respect of like the people that are on the inside. And that to me is
somebody really floating Josh Pate to be the commissioner?
It's all over the place. It like people have talked about it. It's not new.
Come on.
It's not new. That's not new. It's just that's the other end of the spectrum. And so but the reason I brought that up is I'm just making the point that that
is Stephen A. Smith should be president of the United States.
Exactly. But my point is not that that's a good idea, but just that, you've got the Nick Sabans, you've got those names, you've got like people have thrown out a variety of different names. And the point is that it's going to be hard to find someone everyone can agree on. And that's what leaves us in a tough spot is like, who even would that, like, where do you even start with that? That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it is going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know. Mike Elko, the head coach of Texas A&M, had some very pointed comments about this.
Put somebody in charge. I think it's a $1.2 billion industry with not a singular voice in charge of it, making decisions for the betterment of college football. And I think until we get that, we're going to continue to flounder with some of those areas. And so, what's best for the SEC isn't always what's best for the other conferences. What's best for the other conferences isn't always best for the SEC. And at some point, we're going to have somebody who's capable of making rules regarding the betterment of college football, enforcement of rules, and all of it. And again, until we get that, I think we're all at risk of this thing not lasting like we want it to last. And so that would be my piece.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with Mike Elko almost word for word. I think what Mike Elko said there to On 3 is very true. You are watching when you have these Trinidad Chambliss cases or you have these NIL cases and you have all of these I want to play 10 years of college football cases happening. It's bad for the game. The lack of continuity in how we determine who the champion of college football is bad for the game. The influx of really unfiltered private funds into major athletic departments is bad for the game. We need a system that is led by a singular voice. I like the idea of Urban Meyer and or Greg Sankey leading college football. I agree with you. Nick Saban doesn't seem like a guy who has the fire left in the tank or the desire to do it every single day because it is a huge job. It is a huge job. It's not a small job. It is everything from being a lobbyist, because you're going to have to deal with the White House, Congress, the judiciary. I mean, this is a huge job. Huge, all-encompassing. You're going to have to deal with athletic directors and presidents and sponsors and TV executives. It's a huge job. In my opinion is you need somebody who's been involved in the day-to-day operations of major college football. You need somebody who has successfully navigated the day-to-day operations of college football. And you need somebody that instantly commands respect. My choice would always be Greg Sankey should be the commissioner of college football. What he's done and the moves he's made with the SEC have been incredible. He is beyond reproach. He has incredible credibility. He has an incredible track record. I just don't know that it gets better than that. But I think Urban Meyer is a very good name that a lot of people are putting forward. I think Urban, for everything he's not as a husband and a sports bar owner, he would be an incredible leader of college football, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the past issues for Urban, I think, make that hard for me. You know, I agree he's got all the credentials from a college football standpoint. Like he's got the knowledge, knows the process, like all that stuff's fine. I just think if you said, hey, like the leader of college football is Urban, everyone's instantly just going to go to the off the field stuff. And that's what's tough. And then I think for Greg Sankey, I agree. Greg would be like the perfect candidate. But again, the SEC bias contingent piece, I think, prevents him from doing it. That's the hard part, is that you can't, I'm telling you, you can't have, just like you can't have Tony Petitti in that post. Like what you can't do, in my opinion, is you can't have a guy who is a current day commissioner take the post of commissioner of college football. I don't think that will work in the bigger picture. I don't think enough people will support that. I don't, and I only say that because if it's Tony Petitti, then the SEC is going to complain. If it's Greg Sankey, then the Big Ten is going to complain. Like it needs to be like Urban.
You're going to complain if it's not unequivocally the right guy. Greg Sankey is unequivocally, unquestionably successful. I think you would get in trouble if Tony Petitti was being put forward as the commissioner of college football. No track record, no level of success, no unifying voice. Greg Sankey, you don't have to like Greg Sankey, but you can't deny the success that Greg Sankey has had as an administrator, as a leader in college football. It's awfully difficult to argue that Greg Sankey's done a hell of a lot of good things for the SEC, and it's awfully difficult to argue that he's been anything but a resounding success for college football.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Yeah, I mean, you're just not getting away from it. You know, like he has been, he knows what he's doing. I think that Greg, and again, I'm not even I enjoy SEC football. You know, I think that the big SEC game is what we as college football fans are here for. You know, but I think that the only way that it would work with Greg is if the system did away with the conferences and we did have that unified situation.
Well, I think that's happening. I don't think there's any question that in football, when football goes to its own entity, you're going to see that the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, that goes away. You're going to see, in my opinion, very much modeled after the NFL. You're going to have conferences and divisions. Like you need it just simply to move the credibility of the game forward. That you keep having these arguments about how did this team get left out? How was this team in? You can't have Michigan cheating its way to the ultimate prize in college football, because then people don't recognize that as a championship. And it starts this whole vicious cycle of did they legitimately win a championship? Like, the TV networks are paying you billions of dollars. They don't want this kind of conversation. I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had with TV executives who have said our biggest singular issue is clarity and ethics in the championships of college sports. And football is the only one who has no clarity and no ethics in how they determine who the champion of college football is. And that is when you're paying billions of dollars, you want clarity and ethics. And I think you have the exact opposite in college football.
Yeah, there's obviously a ton of bias inside of who gets in, who doesn't, how that process plays out. And that's, see, again, that's the problem with college football is it's just a power grab right now. It's everyone trying to get as far as they can. And, it's everything from the Florida State lawsuit to Bavacqua's greatest 10-game run ever to, it's all of that stuff. It's
excluding excluding any team for arbitrary reasons.
Yeah.
Calls into questions your ethics and your integrity. When you eliminate a team with no standard and by no measure, just on the court of public opinion, that's not ethical. That's not any kind of system that is clear. If you do X, you get Y. If you win games, you're going to be in the college football playoffs. If you win more games than these other teams, you're in. If you don't, you're out. College football doesn't have that. What other major championship can you think of where it's completely arbitrary who gets in and who's out? Completely court of public opinion who wins a championship.
Nothing at the pro level. I mean, I guess you could make a small argument around like the tournament, but I think it's a pretty clear cut what you need to do and what not to get in. I think
automatic qualifiers. You win your conference tournament. You win.
Yeah.
There is a clear path.
Yeah.
There is a clear path to winning the NCAA tournament.
Well,
don't lose a single game in the tournament and you win.
Yeah, I also think that it's different because football is such a physical game. That's the one X factor with football that other sports don't have is that, like, in basketball, you can win a basketball game a million different ways. You don't have to tackle the other team. You don't have to, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. And I think that, the other problem is the leverage that football has over the system financially. I think that BYU is an example, but many teams, 11-2 season and or 10-2, was it 10-2, 11-2 season, 2-loss season, both to Texas Tech. You had a great year and you're not able to get in, which impacted you financially. And that to me is what people get upset about, which is why I say that you should have like this conversation around conference championships and like, because theoretically the thing is always like, oh, well, hey, if BYU had just won a conference championship, they'd have got in, right? But like that's only 4 teams. The problem with the conference championship conversation in college football is that's 4 teams, dude. That's it. That it's not like that means we're getting 10 teams in. That's the greatness of college basketball is that in college basketball, that's netting you, double-digit teams because of how many teams get into the tournament, and it's a much more wide open field. So the hard part that I have with the current system is that the conference championship thing is just a cover for, hey, we don't have a better system that allows us to determine what teams get in and what teams don't get in. It's just, hey, here's the incentive to go win your conference. If you do that, you'll get in. But what about the other 8 teams? What about the other 10 teams? How are we going about, again, it is the Miami and Notre Dame should have played another game to decide who gets that spot.
No, it's this right here. No, winning a conference isn't a guaranteed. Dude. Why didn't Duke go to the college football playoff? Oh, because they're not one of the highest ranked 5 highest ranked conference champions.
Yeah. Which everyone seems to forget, by the way. That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Like, everyone forgot this year that everyone just seems to think it's, oh, well, you win your conference, you're in. No, that's not true. It's not. That is not the verbiage, dude. It is absolutely not the verbiage. Like,
no, and I think it is there are opinions. It's arbitrary. Every year we've had an aggrieved party. Florida State I mean, pick your poison. Alabama last year, Notre Dame playing the victim this year. Like,
yeah,
every year, it needs to be as simple as you won enough games or you didn't.
And that's why I think this commissioner conversation is theoretically it's easy, but dude, when you start getting into it, like I do think it gets pretty muddy, man. Like you start talking about like who's going to be the leader of college football. What power does that person have? What really is their goal? I mean, think of it. If let's say it was Greg Sankey, just for conversation's sake, if it was Greg Sankey and there was a super league, you had an NFL minor league model with 2 conferences, and then divisions inside those conferences, just like everyone's talked about.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know, man. I just think that you can't have, like, I want it to be Greg. I think Greg is the most qualified person to do the job. He has all.
He would be
tools.
an excellent commissioner of college.
Yeah, he would be an excellent commissioner of college football. But I don't know how you separate him being the commissioner of the SEC and him being the commissioner of college football, because the conferences, everyone just forgets this piece. We're only talking about football. So just because football broke away doesn't mean that the Big 12 is just deleting Brett Yormark as its commissioner in all the other athletics. Like that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about football here. So I guess my biggest question is just how you separate that. How can Greg be the commissioner without there being this inherent, optic of, hey, he's the commissioner of the SEC. So it's the SEC and everyone else, and they're just running college football now. That's what I think you're going to have a tough time with.
I think that's short-sighted, especially when you're like, well, he did distribute $72 million to his schools last year. Because you ain't getting away from that, I can tell you that right now, because that's a monumentally huge number.
So then, okay, so how is that helping him get the post, though? Are you saying, well, hey, if he did that in his conference, he's going to do that for everyone else?
Because we've got to stop doing this Stephen A. Smith for president bullshit. You don't have to like the guy, but we need to put people, and the president's a great example of this.
Mm-hmm.
We need to put people in the president's chair that are eminently qualified. Who's more qualified to be the commissioner of college football than Greg Sankey?
Agreed. I agree.
Your personal bias have to come out of it, right? And I just, no, it's not about expanding to more teams in the. I am amazed that we are no longer capable of having a fact-based conversation. It's not about getting more teams in, because if we put in 10, then the 11th team will be the aggrieved party. Put in 20 and the 21st team will say they're aggrieved. Should have been in. We got hosed. Greg Sankey only cares about the SEC. We've got to take the human element out of it. I've been telling you this for 3 years. As long as you have idiots like Jabba the Manual leading this committee, as long as the ACC has the muddiest water to a championship, and then their conference champion doesn't get in and Miami gets in and plays for a national championship, hello? Like, the dysfunction's got to go away.
Yeah.
But we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We like the pain. And that's what we have to get away from. We've got to stop with these personal opinions that Greg Sankey's a schmuck and all he cares about is Alabama getting in. And do you really think Greg Sankey, as the commissioner of college football, would be like, well, what am I going to do to save the SEC? That doesn't exist in football anymore. Because if you go to a new entity, the conferences in all likelihood go away. So you're all under the same pot. His job, much like Roger Goodale, is to make sure that all of his constituents make money. Like, you got to think through this stuff. It makes me crazy. Muldoon. This year was the perfect storm, though, with the Ask 9 ACC tiebreakers, why they called it the chaos scenario. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. As Duke fans, ask Duke fans how they feel about the auto bid system.
Yeah, I mean, It might be the most unclear path ever. Like, oh, well, man, win your conference and you're in. Yeah, that's actually not true, dude. And And, I will say I do think college football could greatly benefit from more a more cohesive setup. The division that the conference setup creates is clear. And I just think it's really not good for anybody, dude. It's just
for
not.
anybody who is, and this is the thing I think that people don't understand. Who wins when Congress gets involved?
Nobody.
In sports?
Nobody.
Yeah. Nobody. Who wins with all these lawsuits? Nobody. Who wins with all this legislation? Nobody. You need a clear-cut new entity. You need a clear-cut, this is how you get in, this is how you're left out. Hey, we have 80 teams in this new entity. The top 30 get in.
It's like an act of Congress.
If you're not one of the top 30 teams, you don't get to play for a championship. And here's how we're going to decide that. Here's a clear-cut tiebreaker system. Here's a plain and simple. Because you and I both already know, in the power conferences, the bottom 75% of teams don't ever compete for a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, well, you can't only put 30 of 80 in. Well, yeah, I can. Because I would guess that 45 45, 55 of those teams on a yearly basis won't compete for a spot. And then hopefully as the money grows and the teams that get in make significantly more money, and let's say that there's 80 teams, just for a round number, 30 get in, 50 do not. And let's say that of the 80, 45 were busting their ass to get in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that that's how you determine, maybe there's a bowl, because everybody's got this hard on to save the bowl games. Okay, well, if the top 30 get into the college football playoff, then maybe 31 through 45 play in whatever. There's a system. And the other part of this is maybe the bottom 50 teams that don't make it, now they start competing at a higher level.
There should definitely be a cut line for the money. Yeah, there should be a cut line for the money. There's no question about it. Yeah, I mean, there should be.
It's just.
Yeah. 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 I mean, there should be. Yeah. Appears we may have lost Monty. Yeah. Looks like Monty froze at a bad time. Couldn't agree more, Gabe. Monty stuck in the void. Yeah. Yep. No, totally agree. Monty ghost strikes again. Couldn't agree more. 21 times a month. Came quick. No question about it. What else we got in here? Oh, this is what he was talking about right here. This is what he was talking about. I've got to go into work early. Have a great day.
Come on, dude.
I mean, come on, dude. I mean, it's every day. It's every day seemingly that you're out here talking about having to go into work early, bro. Like, come on, man. What else does he have for us today? Sankey is the commission of college football, and the SEC names a new commission for everything else. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's how it works, though, dude. I mean, if you're going to create a new system, Greg Sankey, is the perfect candidate for it, and you would have to find a way to balance that out. So I think that there's this situation at play where college football has to have balance, and the problem is that Greg is the most qualified guy. But at the same time, I do agree that you have to be careful with optics and how people see that sort of, hey, he's the commissioner of the SEC right now. How do we make sure that it's fair and square, make everyone feel good about that? You have to make sure that you take care of that piece. But there's no question that Greg he is by far the most qualified, most capable, best man for the job. Especially like when you look at Tony Petitti. Tony's tenure in the Big Ten hasn't been riddled with anything but, problems. I mean, you look at the butter knife situation, the Jim Harbaugh situation, you look at Penn State and some of the issues that have, gone on and some of the drama they've had there. Like the Big Ten has not been, I would say, thriving under Tony. And then, you look at Brett Yormark, and I think that Brett's in a conference where there's not enough people trying to win ball games. That's the problem, dude. So he's sitting here trying to lead a bunch of institutions that aren't interested in making money or winning ball games. They're just interested in doing things how they've always been done, and then, Jim Phillips in the ACC. I mean, dude, the ACC is year to year. I mean, hell, you guys know that, right? I mean, Florida State, the Clemsons of the world, this Duke thing, not getting in. Like it is seemingly every day, week to week, season to season, that there's always someone who's pissed off they didn't get in. And there's always someone saying, screw the SEC, screw the Big Ten. And that's the problem we got to get away from, man. It's absolutely, it's an issue in college football that we have to get away from. There is zero question about that. Absolutely not. Lopes fan Gabe, why would Sankey leave the SEC to clean up every other conference's problems? He already gets everything he wants where he's at now. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great point. I think that, dude, Greg is, you don't get to that post unless you're really wanting to affect change. I think that Greg has obviously done, to your point, a great job in the SEC. Cleaning up the other conference's mess. Yeah, I'm not sure that. Like, I think that's a little bit of a cynical viewpoint, Gabe. I think that if Greg is going to be the commissioner of college football, you're not going to do that with this sentiment of, hey, yeah, like, dude, I'm just going to clean up every conference's mess and that's going to be my job. I think it's much more like, hey, what are we, what can we do with college football? How can we make it better? How can we push it forward? And how, again, can we carry these schools that are in every single conference, that are not trying to win ball games, that are just sitting here spinning and getting their TV check? That to me is what Greg Sankey's got to figure out at this point. Absolutely, that to me is what he would need to figure out. Greg Sankey wouldn't have frozen. Yeah, I don't know, man. Stuff happens. It ain't that big a deal. James just jinxed the whole damn day for us all. Yeah, I mean, again, come on, dude.
Come on, dude.
I mean, what are we doing here, dude? How's the week going? Yeah, I mean, the week is going good, dude. The week is going good. I mean, it's definitely a lot colder. The weather's crappier. It's winter in the PNW as it is for everyone else. So, it's not snowing or like, dumping a ton of snow here. It's rain with like wintry mix, but yeah, it's okay. I would say the week is off to an interesting start. Let's see. Alien Warrior Incorporated. Okay, nice name, dude. TCU James, what did you do now? Yeah, anytime TCU James shows up and, is talking about how he's got to leave early and he's got to chart and do all these things, you already know that bad stuff is going to happen. There's no doubt about it, dude. Let's see. Bailey Dietrich, TCU James hacked Monty's computer. Something like that, dude. Something like that. Absolutely. Big Daddy Magic. Okay, let me get here. Let me bless you guys with some drops. Here we go. Player. Yeah, there you go. Hey, player. Hey, Jake. Monty froze. Okay, and AJ will lead BYU to victory over Arizona. I guarantee it. Yeah. I don't know, dude. I'm not, like, we can talk about this too. We can mix some of this in. I mean, I'm not exactly just over the moon about like where BYU is and the vibe of the team. I mean, I think that Kevin Young's doing a great job overall. I wish that he had sort of turned up the heat on this club earlier. I think that the situation with BYU before, pre-Richie Saunders ACL was that this team had, I would say, Sweet 16 aspirations. I think that there were expectations because of all the money they spent that they would get deep in the postseason. And now they're at a point where Richie's tore the ACL. There's this built-in excuse of, well, now that he's injured, it's a next man up mentality. And I want you guys to listen to pre-Richie ACL messaging here from AJ, because this was the game before. This is post game of the game before where Richie gets hurt. Listen to AJ talking about that they should have beat Arizona before.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should have won the one at home. I think losing by 3 really hurt us. Some defensive lapses that we should not have had. So I mean, we're coming in ready. We're gonna have the scouting report ready. We're gonna trust the staff and go get a win at McHale.
What would make me think that you could look at the scouting report, you could prepare for the game, and then go out and execute the game plan? That's my problem here with this point, is that this team has consistently struggled to put together a successful offensive game plan or a successful defensive game plan, which is why they've lost more games than they should have lost. So I appreciate that AJ has this unwavering belief that like in this one here where he's talking about other guys stepping up, like AJ's sitting here talking about that other guys need to step up and that, man, we got to make a difference. Like what else is he going to say? Sure. But I want to hear this guy say things like, I'm going to fill that void. I'm going to take over. I'm going to step up, and I'm going to make sure that we do whatever we can do to win a ball game.
Yeah, it's definitely hard because, he brings so much shot making. He brings so much offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, and he was just like low-key, like our vocal leader, a vet on the team. But, I mean, I have confidence in the guys to step up. I think Mook can step up some more, hit some shots. Tyler, Mihai came off the bench. I think everybody just has a chance, and everybody's going to step into their roles.
So, I get it, next man up mentality, but do I think that you're going to go to McHale Center, you're going to go down to Tucson and beat these guys? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, there's nothing that would say that BYU without Richie Saunders, and again, let me also say with Richie Saunders, there's nothing that would make me think you're going to beat Arizona. How do we... Where do we, how do you add that up? The math is not mathing, dude. Like you were getting owned at home by Arizona. They let off the gas. You got back in the game. You made it a game at the end, and they put you away when you were giving it everything you had. Again, I like this club. I'm not even a BYU hater, but I think it's hard for me to buy that I think they're an 8-point dog tonight, 10-point dog tonight. Like you're a 5-possession dog tonight, dude. That's spot on. And no, tanking's not even at play in this conversation. Vegas is saying that's the line with you putting up your absolute best performance without Richie. So I just think that I want this team to grow faster than they're capable of. And I really hope that tonight is not like, oh yeah, man, we turned it over more than we should have. We didn't put in the work defensively. We need to do this. We need to do that. No, just go out and put the performance together. That's what I'm waiting for here, man. That is absolutely what I'm waiting for, man. Hero 75, not the best idea, but if they can't agree on who to lead college football, have the position rotate between each commissioner of the power conferences. Yeah, but here's the problem, bro. If you need to anoint a leader of college football, it can't be a thing where that leader changes constantly. If you want to put a term on it, if you want to say the commissioner of college football is an 8-year post or a 5-year post. Okay, I can kind of get down with that, but I don't know that it should be just an auto rotation of the commissioners. I would never, ever, even if the house was on fire, want Tony Petitti or Jim Phillips to be the commissioner of college football. Ever. Not on any planet in any lifetime would those two be the college football commissioner. Brett Yormark, I like Brett a lot. I think he's doing great things in the Big 12. I could see him, doing a decent job, but I think Brett is definitely a guy that's come out of the entertainment TV world. And that's why the Big 12 is growing so much with the floors and the TV contracts and putting on a show for the Big 12 basketball tournament in Kansas City. But I don't know that he's got the cojones, the walk in the room power that, hey, this dude just walked in. It's time for us to sit down and shut up and listen. I'm not sure that Brett has that same sway that Greg would. And that's why I say I want it to be Greg. It should be Greg. Greg is the guy. But I'm not sure there's enough people across college football that agree with that. And that's why I'm fearful, and it concerns me that we're in this place where we all want this super league, we all want this new entity, but we don't want the responsibility that comes with it. We don't want this thing where it's like, hey, yeah, we want the shiny new car, but man, we don't want to pay that maintenance bill. We don't want to deal with the proposition of Greg being the commissioner, because all we want to do is tear people down. That's the problem, dude. Is that Greg is the clear-cut, no doubt about it, guy for this job, but it's too many personal vendettas that are getting in the way of it. And that's why I say, like, at some point there has to be, me and Monty were talking about, there has to be like this shift of personal opinions and getting after dude and criticizing him and saying the SEC sucks. We need to get away from that mentality. We need to get back on, hey, what's best for the game? Well, what's best for the game is a commissioner's office full of super qualified people that as a group make decisions for college football. And then from there, you have a NFL minor league model where you've got 2 conferences with, I would say, probably 4 divisions in each conference, all vying for the postseason through performance on the field. No human's going to decide who gets in and who gets out. It's all decided on the field. And yes, I love the proposition of the SEC and the Big Ten having to play the ACC and the Big 12 and those, sort of that mingling of teams. I think it would be great to get, Texas Tech versus the Big Ten more. And I'm not even saying Texas Tech would beat them regularly, but just that the spectacle of that, the prospect of that, I think would be really, really healthy for the system. Yeah, Douglas, I've seen this a lot. So the Kyle Whittingham for commissioner thing, I've seen that a ton, dude. Before Whit took the Michigan job, Kyle Whittingham was someone who, as we've talked about so much, was like, hey, he's going to retire, and he is going to be the perfect guy who's at the perfect stage in life, who has a lot left in the tank to go out and do this. Like, he's that guy. And I think the problem is that Witt's path at Utah made it so that he was still hungry to go out and win a national championship, which is why you see him at Michigan, trying to put a prolific program together. And Bryce Underwood and his doobie be damned, Witt's going to do that. I think Witt and Jay Hill at Michigan is going to be a prolific combination, dude. That offense is going to get better. Beck developing Bryce is going to be, I think, something special, because I've always said, dude, go back and listen to the shows during the season, at the beginning of the season, after I said it after the Oklahoma-Michigan game, that Bryce Underwood has Heisman potential in him. He has the talent. He has the ability. His problem is his mechanics, and he has not been developed. And I will also add that this whole smoking weed on video in the locker room thing is exactly what I don't want to be seeing out of QB1. QB1 should be working his ass off, working on the mechanics, get your ass in the weight room, do all the things that you can do to develop. And then from there, if you want to have some fun, do that. But I can't believe that that's what Bryce is putting out. And I just, it does make me wonder, like, how seriously are you taking this, dude? Are you thinking that you're going to be a top 10 NFL draft pick in 2 seasons? Do you think that you have that capability? Like, I'm not sure. So, yeah, Witt would have been a nice candidate. And I think maybe after he's done at Michigan and the system changes and the model set up and everything, maybe he's that second guy. Like, he's the guy that replaces the first commissioner. But unfortunately, dude is still hungry. He still wants to win a national championship. And so he's not available. That's the problem, dude. Chad Schultz, as a Husker fan, I always wanted Whittingham as a coach here. Yeah, I think everybody wanted Witt, dude. That's the problem, bro, is that Utah got spoiled, and they forgot, in my opinion, they took for granted. They got spoiled at the level of success that Kyle Whittingham had and built. And so from there, you got to a place where your boosters was like, hey, we want Crazy Smile to take over the program. And, that's this guy right here is who we think is going to lead the program forward. And all I have to say is, I'm sure, like, I am 100%, 1000% sure that that Morgan Scalley is more than capable of pushing this program forward. I have no doubt about that, dude. But at the same time, I will always maintain that it's one thing to be assistant number one, right? It's one thing to be the guy that's helping with, with the defense and pushing your team forward, and you're the coach in waiting. There's no pressure on you. But at the same time, it's a different beast. It's a different vibe and a different responsibility to go out there and handle things and run a program and be the guy and have the pressure and have the expectation. Do you really think that Morgan Scalley is going to come out here and produce a 10-win season? If I said to you, what are the odds that Morgan Scalley wins 10 games in his first season at Utah? Well, of course, the odds are going to be low. Okay, let's cut him some slack. What are the odds he wins 10 games in his first 3 seasons at Utah? Because in my opinion, I don't think that those odds are high. I think that Morgan Scalley as a head coach in his first 3 years at Utah is a 7-8 game winner, bowl eligible guy, programs in a decent place, but not where it was with Witt. And, there's going to be conversations. I think that the idea of Morgan was nice. The idea of, hey, let's move on from Witt. Hey, Witt, can you retire, please? We got our coach in waiting. Next man up mentality. Yeah, that was a great idea until you realize that, turns out Witt's still got a fire to burn. Turns out that, Witt's going to Michigan and Witt's going to go and probably win a national championship or at least compete for one. And you're probably going to struggle to win the Big 12 again. And that, to me, is what you can't get away from if you're Utah. I think it's a really, really difficult pill to swallow, when you get into it. Randomness. PNW has the worst weather anywhere. It's a huge guess on why anyone would live there. I don't know that I would say that, bro. I think that it depends what you want. I mean, the PNW weather is definitely gray, definitely rainy. It's wet. It precipitates a lot, but you don't typically have like a true winter. You don't have ice and snow covered roads. You don't have frosted cars. You're not scraping your windshield. You're not like, it's not like that. So if you're someone that maybe doesn't want to pay LA pricing and doesn't want to pay Phoenix pricing, but you would like to live on the West Coast, the PNW maybe is an option for you. Seattle's expensive, but you can live outside of the city. You can stretch your legs a little bit, get away, and find some decent options. So I mean, it's all preferences, dude. I don't think that I would disagree that it's a huge guess on why anyone would live there. I disagree with that, dude. I think there's a lot of reasons to win, or to live in the PNW. Let's see what else we got here. 8-4. Yeah, I mean, I think that 8-4 is reasonable, but he would. I at that same time, like you're talking about, new OC. You're talking about figuring out Dampier in a new system. I mean, theoretically, the defense would be as good as it's always been because he was running the defense, allegedly. So I would think the defense would be just fine. But who are you offensively? Are you still a pound the rock football team that is trying to figure out the quarterback? Or are you going to turn it into a pass first, spread the field out, sometimes run the ball kind of team? That to me is the big question for Utah at this point. And yeah, I mean, you did lose a lot of top end talent. There's no question about that. I think, let's see, at Michigan, probably not his fault. It's just a dumpster fire right now. Yeah. I mean, I think that Michigan needs to get rid of Ward Manuel. And once Ward Manuel is gone and you have a reasonable athletic director in there, I think you're looking at you are looking at a potential juggernaut, a potential 5-year run for Witt where you're in the CFP for those 5 years. You compete for 2 to 3 national championships, and he will win a national championship, in my opinion. And, from there, I think you're in a really good place if you're Michigan. I just don't think that there's any doubt about that, dude. No question about it. I do want to get to this Mountain West, North Dakota State situation, if you will. Touched on it a little bit last week, obviously. Touched on it yesterday, but I think that Gloria Nevarez is working hard to push this North Dakota State edition, about how excited people are about, what it's doing for the conference. And my question for you before I play this Glory Bite is, does North Dakota State make it into the CFP ever in their time in the Mountain West? Like, by adding North Dakota State, did the Mountain West replace what they had in Boise State in the CFP?
Well, we knew it was going to be positive. I really was pleasantly surprised at how positive and how national. I think it was 10x what I expected the response to be. And so our league couldn't be more thrilled. Our coach is paying NDSU the biggest compliment in that, I wouldn't play them if they weren't in the league. I mean, that's high praise.
Yeah. I mean, I think that North Dakota State is a great addition. We've talked all about it. I think that they push the conference forward. You're in this place where you're competing with the Pac-12, whether you want to be or not. And you added North Dakota State. Sac State goes to the MAC, and the Pac-12 is left sitting here with sitting on their hands, trying to figure out what their next win is going to be. I think that what's really interesting in this conversation we've had today about, like the commissioner of college football, the system, how people are getting into the playoffs, I do think North Dakota State has a chance. I think when you look at Boise State's run through the Mountain West and into the CFP, the Ashton Ginty sort of experience, I think, is why they were able to get the hype they were able to get, and why they were put into the CFP. Like, you were put into the CFP because everyone knew Ashton and the numbers he was putting up and how good he was, not because you were actually one of the best teams in college football. And when I look at North Dakota State, obviously it goes without saying, one of the best FCS teams over the last decade, have won 10 of the last 12 FCS championships. Like, you are, you are one of the best, additions that the Mountain West could have found. At that same time, though, you're still North Dakota State. So do I have confidence that you can run through the Mountain West and then right into the CFP? No, probably not inside of 2 to 3 seasons. But if I said, hey, inside of 5 years of joining the Mountain West, you will see a CFP appearance out of North Dakota State, yeah, I think that's probable, dude. I think that you have a better than 50-50 chance. I think that you have you've got a program that's really trying. They're willing to invest. And as usual, it comes down to your willingness to get in the portal, do NIL deals, spend the money, rock the Dabo tampering label, and get talent. And if you do that, I think you're going to be just fine. But this balance of power between these two conferences is something I want to touch on before I get to your comments. The Mountain West is unequivocally, undeniably ahead of where the Pac-12 is. You look at the Pac-12, you look at what they don't have. The Pac-12 doesn't have a TV deal that is powerful, that is, as Teresa Gould said, transformative. You don't have this sort of dynamic at play where you're like, oh, dude, the Pac-12 TV deal, new additions, expanding, heading in the right direction. That's not what we have in the Pac-12. Shockingly, I might add, because I thought you would have had that by now. What you have, obviously, is a group of schools that I feel like are full of regret for joining this conference. You have a commissioner in Teresa Gould who is not doing a serviceable job, who's doing business the same way business has always been done in this conference. And, then from there, you have a group of presidents, in my opinion, who are frustrated that the media rights deal the Pac-12 put together is not what you promised them. Because my opinion is, not reporting it as fact, but my opinion is that you promised them the world. You said that, hey, we're going to get above $10 million a year per school. And if you're winning ball games and you're the one going to the playoff, you're going to eclipse like 12 to 15 million a year in distribution to your school from the conference because you won those games. And then obviously from the media rights deal. And that's just not a possibility right now. So I don't understand where the Pac-12 got off thinking that they could that they could miss on the Sac State opportunity. Because I think the sentiment out of the Sac State officials is really surprising. Like listen to their president, Dr. Luke Wood, the president at Sac State. Listen to how he talked about that the MAC made them feel wanted, that the MAC, made them feel desired.
I'll just add to that. The MAC wanted us. When I had the chance to sit around the table with the presidents, and when Mark and I've had the chance to engage with the commissioner, our market, our media market, having the top 20 market in the country with no FBS program was what the big appeal was for them.
So the MAC wanted us. Okay, does that mean that the Pac-12 didn't want you? I mean, obviously reading between the lines, obviously trying to work through what he's saying there, but like, I can't believe that we've got the president of Sac State, a guy that is well respected, has been doing a great job, doing everything that you would want your president to do at a school, goes on the local ABC affiliate and says that, hey, the MAC wanted us, meaning, in my opinion, the Pac-12 didn't want you. Which, again, how is that possible? How is it that a school that's trying to bump up to FBS in your backyard you didn't want in a time when you needed another football member? How is that possible? I can't believe that I'm sitting here talking about that, dude. Sac State's just not. Nah, we don't want set. No, we don't want a team that is going to pay an assload of money to jump to FBS, is going to pay an assload of money to our conference. Wait, just real quick. It's not like you guys have a lot of cost right now, right? It's not like you're in litigation. It's not like your TV deal is underwhelming. You don't have need for more revenue, do you? Oh, that's right. You do. Yet you still didn't add them. So I don't know how the Pac-12 got to a place where they just let Sac State walk down the yellow brick road to the MAC. And of course, Pac-12 fan is like, well, man, now that they're in the MAC, that's going to make it easier for them to join our conference. Well, why would they do that? Why would Sac State take no money in a distribution deal for, I believe it's 4 years, might be 5, pay all that money to join the conference, only to then in 2 or 3 years jump all the way back over to your conference that likely, hopefully, I hope so, will merge with the Mountain West when you realize that you can't overcome this hump. Why would Sac State do that? It's beyond me, dude. It is a classic Pac-12. We're better than you. We don't think you're fitting, size-wise in our conference type conversation. You're really telling me that the conference that asked ESPN for $500 million, the conference that sat around the table at one point and turned down a streaming deal from Apple when their media rights were expiring and their members were threatening to leave. You turned down distribution that was available to you when life or death for your conference as we knew it before was on the line. We're really surprised that the same people who made that decision are here making this decision chose not to add Sac State. I'm not surprised. And I'm really past this point in time where I'm like, well, maybe the Pac-12 will turn it around. I don't think they will. What again, this is my take on BYU. Why do I think BYU won't beat Arizona tonight? Because you haven't shown me anything that would suggest that you would. What best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. The Pac-12 has regularly and consistency, time and time and time again, shown that they will make the wrong decision at every turn. Here we are again. So the question is, 1, did they miss an opportunity to add Sac State? Of course. But 2, and this to me is the real ball breaker if you are the Pac-12, is the Mountain West, is the Mountain West capable of putting the Pac-12 out of business? Meaning by adding North Dakota State, by continuing to do better distribution deals, by potentially putting North Dakota State in the CFP at some point. Could the Mountain West force the Pac-12's hand in a merger? Could the Mountain West get to a place, power-wise, leverage-wise, where they could say, hey, you know what? We've got all this. And hey, members who left that used to be in our conference that gave us the bird, hey, here's what you would be getting if you were in our conference. Why don't you let me know when you're ready to come back and thrive? You're telling me that the Boise States of the world, San Diego States of the world, Fresno State, you're telling me that those schools and the rest of them wouldn't want to come back for a more reliable experience, an experience where you're all growing together. Super League be damned, because that's coming too. But you're telling me these schools aren't full of regret. Yeah, I think they are. And I think that the Mountain West is inching closer and closer and closer to getting to a point where the Pac-12 is saying, yeah, you know what? Like, we tried. We did what we thought was best, even though that wasn't even close to what you should have done. But we tried, and it didn't work out. So let's fold. Let's merge. And if you want to merge under the Pac-12 umbrella, I'm fine with that. But Gloria should be the commissioner of that situation. And it just makes too much sense not to do it. Okay. Your comments. Let's see what y'all have to say about this. Let's see. Matt Muldoon. North Dakota State is a true, quote, football school, and they will do whatever it takes to succeed at this level. You'll see them make an appearance in the next 5 years in the CFP. Yeah, and Gloria thinks that North Dakota State makes the Mountain West football better.
You know, expansion was already the hot topic. It had been out in the ether and the news. And so ever since 2023, we have been actively thinking about looking at membership. Of course, when 5 of the schools left for the Pac-12, we went into kind of extra mode, and then we've settled back down. And, you know, North Dakota State has always been on our radar. You know, I've always appreciated and had a high level of respect for what they've done. I think they fit with us both geographically and mission value culturally. They look a lot like the schools in the Mountain West, and they make our football better.
Couldn't agree more, Gloria. Couldn't agree more, you know? And I think that when you look at this conference, everyone said when the split happened, hey, well, you lost Boise State. What are you going to do? Well, all they've done is bounce back, dude. And I'm not saying that North Dakota State is a like for like, apples to apples replacement for Boise State. But, man, they're sure not that far behind, right? I mean, it's not like Boise State's a CFP team every single year, but they are a top-end football school on the West Coast, I would say, at the G5 level. They certainly were on the forefront of the Mountain West. They're certainly the best football brand in the Pac-12. So again, if North Dakota State can find a way to you know, get to the CFP inside of 5 years, that for me, that's what I look at as the benchmark. If you join the Mountain West, can you get to the CFP inside of 5 years? If you do that, I will rubber stamp it as mission accomplished. If you do that, you are so far ahead of where you would have been at any time at the lower levels of college football that I think it's unequivocally labeled, rubber stamped, like just stamp that thing a success, dude. And that to me is what you're trying to do. I just think that there's no question about it, dude. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, never heard of you, but appreciate you listening. Gloria is kicking the Pac's ass. She has been 2 steps ahead in every situation. Every school added has been a huge win for the Mountain West. Is Toledo next? Yeah, I don't know. I think that as far as who's next, I don't think there's a clean cut, you know, answer to that. I think that the Mountain West has always got to be diligent about who they're adding and what that travel looks like. I think that if we're going to sit here and Pac-12 Defender is going to say that Sac State's going to go back to the Pac-12, well, why wouldn't they look at going back to the Mountain West, right? I mean, again, I think you're going to have this dynamic at play, and this is what major letdown's getting to. And I did say this yesterday. In 3-4 years, if Pac, quote, fails and the Mountain West defectors want back in, what if the Mountain West doesn't want to do business with them? San Diego State, Boise State particular. Well, look, dude, I think that again, this Sac State conversation kind of plays into your comment here. I think that San Diego State and Boise State are 2 different tales inside of the Mountain West negotiations. The San Diego State burning of bridges is absolutely one that I think would be I think that'd be a tough conversation for them to get back into the Mountain West. I mean, the disrespect that you laid on the Mountain West, time and time again through J.D. Wicker, Adela Del Torre, those two, have openly and repeatedly talked about the fact that they, wanted to get the pro rata they deserved, and they wanted to be in a power conference, and because that's really the egg on the face moment, right? If you're San Diego State, hey, screw the Big 12. We're not going to the Big 12. We want the pro rata we deserve. We're going to go to the Pac-12 because we think they're going to be a power conference again. And at that time, they were a power conference, I might add. But then everything burns down. Now you find yourself in the Pac-12 still, but they're not a power conference. You're certainly not getting the pro rata you deserve. And yeah, major letdown. I do think that there is massive risk of, hey, the Pac-12 isn't going to work out. Where do we go from here? I don't know. What I do know is that you should still be in the Mountain West. And if you try to go back, I am guessing there will be retribution of some kind. There will be, hey, you left. You essentially said that we weren't the conference for you, and the Pac-12 would be better. So here's 3 years of no media rights distribution, and everything that you would make through going to a CFP, everything you would make going to the tournament goes to the conference and not you. Something like that, I think, would be, completely justified. Let's see what else we got. Rock and Ram. This past season, North Dakota State was ranked 40th in FBS FCS power rankings, ahead of every Mountain West and new Pac-12 team. They definitely can make it in the next 5 years. They were ahead of many P4. Yeah, and I agree with that. However, I do think it's a different grind when you step up in competition. And this is the plight of every school that steps up. Hey, we were dominant. All the numbers, the performance, everything suggests that we should be able to compete and beat power competition on a semi-regular / regular basis, right? I mean, we everything about North Dakota State would suggest that. The problem is, though, when you start playing better competition, you've got the travel, X, Y, and Z, all those different factors. It's just, it never seems to be as easy as the sales pitch makes it out to be, right? It never seems to be this thing where it's like, hey, well, we were here, top dog at the FCS level, dominating competition, playing power competition once in a while, but now we're going to step up to FBS. We're going to be in a G6 conference, and we are going to do everything we can do to get to where we need to go. Okay, great. But I don't think that guarantees that it doesn't guarantee a certain level of success. So, Rant, while I do agree that in 5 years, like I said, I do think they can get to the CFP, no question about it. I think that it's never quite as smooth of a road as everyone would like it to be. And I'm curious what the, adversity will be that they face. Will they have a losing season in year one? Will they blow it out of the water in year one and lose a championship game and, get set back? Like, those are the things that I'll be looking for with North Dakota State in the, in the Mountain West. Absolutely. Let's see. Not sure who you're referencing there. If they can retain their coach, they can do things with better talent. I don't know if you're talking about Utah or who you're talking about. Chad Schultz, I'm still dumbfounded the Pac-12 didn't get Sacramento State. Couldn't agree more, dude. Couldn't agree more, as I talked about. Major letdown. Jake's the next man up, swinging for the fences. You go to Shakes. Yeah, a little bit of a different vibe today. Monty's internet went out or something happened, so just sitting here chopping it up. We typically do 5 a.m. to somewhere around like 7:30 to 8 o'clock Pacific. So kind of happened about, I don't know, maybe a half hour ago or whatever. So yeah, just sitting here chopping it up, man. It's a good time. What else we got? Who do you think North Dakota State's rivals will be in the Mountain West? Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question, Bailey. I think that it's hard to say. I mean, obviously UNLV would be the obvious one. I think that UNLV poses the best competition, theoretically the best, like for like, power for power, battle. But again, this is my point. This is what I was just saying, not to be repetitive. We have to see what North Dakota State looks like in this conference. I mean, again, you're talking about a program that won 10 of the last 12 FCS championships. And theoretically, they should do very well in the Mountain West, which is why I think you're seeing this just glowing reception. This just like, oh man, dude, incredible ad out of the dark of the night, right? Like, just who saw this coming? How did the Pac-12 not get in on North Dakota State? You know, the Mountain West with another huge win, which it is a huge win. I don't even disagree with that. But to this point, the next question very clearly is, hey, well, what is North Dakota's stature in the conference then? I mean, if you're winning 10 of the last 12 at the FCS level, does that mean that you're just going to walk right in and compete for a Mountain West championship, which, you know, would then allow you theoretically to compete to get into the CFP with another, you know, conference champion at the G6 level? I mean, that's my point. Like, if you look at the plight of the G6 in the CFP, and we may still have, let's see. And we don't have it now, but like, if you look at this past season CFP, and like, you know, you look at JMU and you look at Tulane, can North Dakota State compete with JMU? Absolutely. I think we all know that. Like, again, I think it's not in question, especially with JMU's turnover at head coach. But like Tulane, yeah, I would think so. Like, Tulane's shown an ability to compete with USC. Tulane's shown an ability to compete with many power teams. But North Dakota State's ability to walk into this conference, adjust to FBS life quickly, and then do that at a level where they can compete with UNLV. They could theoretically compete with the champions out east, like Tulane. That's what remains to be seen. But certainly, without a doubt, dude, there's expectations that this team is going to come in here and do some damage. And I hope we see it, dude. I absolutely hope that we see it without a doubt, dude. Mapes, do we see the Mountain West adding any basketball schools from the WCC? Well, again, see, this is the other side of the coin too, right? I mean, you look at the Mountain West from a basketball perspective. Yeah, the WCC definitely has some attractiveness, right? I mean, we saw Gonzaga, don't call me Gonzaga, join the pack. And everyone said that was like, you know, well, why didn't they go to the Big 12? Why did they go to the Pac-12?
Gonzaga.
You know, why did they choose that? Well, it's an easier path. So the question for WCC teams is going to be, well, if we leave the WCC and we go to the Mountain West, let's say, does that provide us a more reliable route to more money more consistently? Because that's all anyone cares about. Like, let's cut the crap, right? Like, any of these schools, all they care about is competing at the highest level and making the most money possible. So, you know, North Dakota State, that's why they jumped. Sac State, why did Sac State jump? Well, Sac State jumped because they want to get to the FBS level so that they can make more money and push their program forward. And I would think eventually, make a CFP appearance. That's what I would guess you're getting to with Sac State. So do we see, the Mountain West adding WCC schools? Maybe if they feel like they have a need. But again, if a merger were to happen and you get, San Diego State back, who's shown a propensity to get deep in the tournament, probably don't need WCC schools. So again, merging fixes a lot of these sort of, cursory perimeter issues, these conversations, these topics of conversations that maybe are down the line, but need to be addressed. So maybe, but I don't think anytime soon. Where are all the casuals today? Well, see, again, if you're late to the show, the reason that Monty's not here today is because James came into the comments section and, and said that, oh, well, I got to leave work early, I got to leave the show, I'm busy charting X, Y, and Z. And instantly Monty was blacklisted from an internet perspective and, got taken down. So now we're in a place where I'm doing the rest of the show today, and hopefully Monty's internet will be back up, and hopefully James, chooses not to blacklist Monty again, and and make that happen. So yeah, that's where all the casuals are today. Let's see. Original Sammy Sam. Okay. I hear the Pac-12 and Big 12 are working on a potential merger of some sort. Have you heard anything about that? I have not heard anything about that. There would be no precipice to do that. There would be no reason to do that. No, there's just not a reason. I mean, I think that, the Big 12 is so far and ahead of the Pac-12. I don't feel like the Pac-12 from a brand perspective, like with the group they have, like Boise State's been connected to the Big 12 for some time. Over the years, we've heard, well, maybe Boise State or maybe this or Oregon State, Washington State. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think there's a reason, a big time reason for the Big 12 to really add Pac-12 schools. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And in fact, what I would say, if you're the Big 12, I probably wouldn't be doing any expansion, merging, addition, subtraction until you have real clarity on what the Super League looks like, or this new, entity, this new system that's at play, that's being, crafted. I wouldn't probably change anything until you know what that looks like. Because again, the most recent conversation with the Big 12 has been Nebraska. So if Nebraska were to leave the Big 10 to go to the Big 12, which again, I don't think it's happening. You're not leaving Big 10 money to go to the Big 12. But if that were to happen, okay, I guess. But that's still not like again, to use Teresa Gould's verbiage, a transformational addition. So I to answer your question directly, I haven't heard anything about that, and I would be shocked if anything like that happened. Mike Smith, transitions for teams jumping up in levels or even conferences normally takes time. SMU is one of the few that came in first year and did well in the ACC. Yeah, that's a great point, Mike. I mean, SMU is a good case study. However, I'll contend that SMU plays in a conference that typically is soft as hell, right? And SMU in that first season really kind of caught lightning in a bottle with just some of the injuries the ACC had and those that were not competitive from a team standpoint, and they were able to take advantage. So maybe North Dakota State realizes that opportunity. Maybe they catch lightning in a bottle. Maybe UNLV struggles for whatever odd reason, but we'll just see. We'll just see how it plays out. But I don't think that North Dakota State is like way off or anything like that. What about Wyoming becoming a natural rival? Yeah, maybe. I mean, I know a lot of people like Wyoming. Wyoming's always been kind of the season wrecker for Utah and other Big 12 schools. So maybe. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. No question about it. Sac State is auditioning to get into the Pac-12. Yeah, Jimmy, I don't know, dude. I don't know, bro. I'm not sure that I agree with that. I understand like where you're coming from with that, but I'm not sure that I agree with the sentiment that the Pac-12 looked at Sac State and said, not yet. Then Sac State was like, okay, we'll jump into the MAC because the MAC wanted us. And then the Pac-12 is going to offer Sac State in 2 years. The reason I don't love that is because Sac State financially is not like, it's not like money is endless, dude. It's not like it makes a bunch of sense for them to just be like, oh yeah, dude, bro, we're not going to take any media rights. We're just going to put out all this money. And then after you got done telling us to go F ourselves and we weren't big enough and like we weren't a good fit in your conference. Oh yeah. Then, 2 years later, then we'll take your invite. I have a lot of trouble with that. And you're talking about a leadership group. Again, let me remind you, Jimmy, the style of leadership you have at Sac State, because these are not old heads. These are not dudes that are 70, 80 years old running Sac State and just kind of doing business as it's always been done. Listen to their athletic director wax on about how Sacramento has always been the underdog, yet Sacramento is somehow figured out how to win again.
I don't know what's the term, Sacramento versus everybody. Sacramento State, we've kind of been the underdog, and I've kind of liked it. Our city and our community's always been that way. Again, I go back to my roots here, and people around the country have doubted Sacramento for decades on what we can do as a community, what we can do as a university. And I look at just examples in our community. The Golden One Center being there is just awesome. I remember the old Arco, and nobody thought we can keep the Kings from Seattle and Bill Golden won. And guess what? It happened. And our MLS and getting a stadium done in the rail yards with what Wilton Rancheria and Sky River's done and what the Republic has done, nobody thought can get done. And guess what? It happened. And now here we are. You know, there was doubts whether Sacramento State can elevate to an FBS program. And guess what? Sacramento comes through again.
Does that really seem like the energy of a school that's auditioning for the Pac-12? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. That doesn't. Yeah, I don't think so, bro. Sac State to the MAC is a horrible business decision. I think honestly, Pac-12 would grab the Montana schools before Sac State, and Sac State knows that. Okay, why is it a horrible business decision? What's the deal? What's like why is that not a good idea for them? Why? In fact, let me put it to you this way, randomness. Why would it be a good idea for a school that needs to get into a conference that, you know, gives them opportunity, which again, I know the MAC's not in a great place. I'm not sitting here saying the MAC is some amazing conference, but admittedly, the MAC has availability. We all know that. So why would a school looking for opportunity and looking just to get in the door, why would they go to the Pac-12, a conference that, albeit even randomness, I think you're a Pac-12 guy or Jimmy or anybody else who's on the Pac-12 side of this, we all agree that the Pac-12 has a certain level of arrogance, right? Can we agree on that? I mean, I think that's fair. You know, we've seen that over the years. So why would Sac State go to the Pac-12 when the Pac-12 basically, in my opinion, said, hey, you're not a fit for us right now. You're not big enough. You're not this. You're not that. You're not good enough. I mean, whatever it was, dude, because they certainly talked. You cannot tell me, I will not buy that the Pac-12 and Teresa Gould never talked to Dr. Luke Wood or Mark Orr. There's no way those two or those three never have spoken to each other. I don't buy it. No matter what anyone says, I don't believe that. So you said to Sac State, hey, like, you're not a fit. It's not great, yada, yada, yada. They go to the MAC, which was the next best option. And I agree. The MAC is not like the best conference ever, but that was your next best play, only to go back to the Pac-12 in 2 years to go to a conference that didn't really value you in the beginning. The leadership at Sac State isn't like that, dude. In my opinion, I look at it and I say, these are two dudes who are like, yeah, bro, like, we're the underdog. They wanted us. Like, we needed to get to FBS. Like, we needed a foot in the door, and they were the best option for us. Do I agree? Do I agree, Jimmy, that the MAC is not a great place for Sac State to stay long term? Yes, I agree with that. You're not going to stay in the MAC for like 10 years. And yes, geographically speaking, the Pac-12 would be a great fit. But if there's anything that we've learned in college football and college athletics, geography does not seem to be the prevailing decider of who goes where. I mean, look at Calford, right? Stanford and Cal being in the ACC after the Pac-12 burned down. You think they regret that decision? Maybe. I don't know. But all I can tell you is that the Pac-12 has this reputation where they say, nah, we're better than you, and we'll decide when you join our conference. To which I say, they're running out of schools to expand with because of their reputation. And that, to me, would be the big concern with this thought, Jimmy, is that I agree with you, the MAC's not this amazing conference. I agree that it's not a 10-year play, but you can get away in the MAC for 3 to 4 years, 5 years. Like, that's fine. You can do that. Are you going to thrive? I don't know. The deal to get into the FBS was not a deal that you were going to thrive on anyway. You're giving away money to do this. And frankly, you're not only are you giving away money, you're not making any money back. So it was always a pay a bunch of money to do this proposition. It's just a matter of who you're paying, right? It's just a matter of who the landlord is. So, you know, I don't know, man. I just think it's it's a tough situation, bro. It's a tough situation. Monty shouldn't be letting this show happen. I see a Mike and the Mad Dog situation coming. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm not really sure what you mean with that, to be honest with you. I think that you're commenting And I'm taking your comments, talking about them, and pointing out the fact that there's obvious bias in your comments. So I don't have a problem, dude. I'm actually a Big 12 guy, so I just look at this and go, what does paying for travel, not taking money, etc. How much money is in the tank? Yeah, no, dude, I agree with that. That's my point about with Jimmy is that this MAC deal was just the best deal available. The proposition of, and again, Mike Smith brought up the SMU situation, which I think is a fair comp. You have a school in SMU who is like, hey, we're not taking media rights for, I believe it was 10 years on their deal. I think I'd have to go back and double check. But hey, we're not going to take, distribution deal money for X amount of time, and we're going to pay a fee to join your conference. My big gripe about the Pac-12 not doing this deal, no matter what you thought of the stature of Sac State, you could use that money, dude. You're in massive litigation with the Mountain West. You've been in litigation for how long? You're at a point where there's probably no return until the leadership of the conference changes in terms of merging or getting a settlement or whatever it might be. So I think that the Pac-12 missed an opportunity. Yes, I think that North Dakota State puts the Mountain West on the CFP map again. And Sac State is a school that is going to have to grind its ass off to find its way at the FBS level. Like it just is what it is. That's just the plight of life. And finally, there was this last topic I want to get to before I get out of here today. We'll be ending a little bit early today, but I want to play this Sumrall bite. So John Sumrall has been a controversial figure. At one point, I was saying that I wasn't confident that John Sumrall at Florida would be, would work out or would be a great situation or happening. But I have to say, I really appreciate the fact that this is John Sumrall's take on kids saying that life is too hard, and that what their coaches are asking of them is too hard. I appreciate that this is where Sumrall comes down on that.
I actually think it's easier, because if a guy wants to act some sort of way about having to do something tough, I'm like, dude, you make money. Shut up, bro. You're getting paid, dog. Put the work in. So I think some coaches with this new world we're living in of transfer portal NIL have gotten softer. I've probably gotten crazier. I'm like, no, I'm not. Don't tell me about this is too hard.
Couldn't agree more, dude. You're making all this money and kids want to talk about how, hey, this is too hard. This is, I can't do this. Well, those excuses went out of the window, brother. You don't get to do that. You don't get to make, 7 figures and then say, oh yeah, man, this is too hard. I don't want to lift today. I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to grind. I don't want to do what I need to do to be the best college football player that I can be. You don't get to do that anymore, dude. The excuses are taken away. And I look at these different Sumrall bites and it just kind of lends itself to this guy who has been on this train. And listen, make the jokes. I'm cool with that. We can joke about all this stuff because I agree there's jokes to be made. But the gotta earn the gator head bite at one point on the show, Grum, was received as corny and as sort of like a ploy, right? Hey, what are we doing? Or is this flag football? Is this high school football, pee-wee football? What are you talking about that you got to earn the gator head here?
You got to earn it. You got to earn the logo, man. We ain't earned it yet. We ain't earned a damn thing. All we've got is our name. We're going to put our freaking name on every day. All right? And so to wear the Florida Gator logo, to wear the Gators across your helmet and script, or to wear the Gator head, man, you got to earn that.
I love the dude's energy. Hey, bro, this is Florida. You're getting paid a lot of money. Work your ass off. Do the job. Stop complaining. Show up every day and become a better football player, with the idea that a lot of you can get to the NFL. I mean, I'm so tired of people, complaining and being negative with their energy. Like these kids, these guys are getting paid tons of money to play a child's game and go to class, meaning, hey, let me take my NIL money, scratch a check to whoever to do my homework for me, and I'm going to go to class and I'll be done with class in like 3 years, and then I'll have 5 years of eligibility. Trinidad Chambliss, Carson Beck, right? Like these guys are getting way ahead of it, and I feel like some guys complain and don't want to put the work in. To which I say, we wonder why there's a disparity of great teams and average teams and ass teams, because guys like Sumrall are like, hey, dude, you're getting paid money. Stop complaining, shut your mouth, and do the work. And I just think we need more of that in college football. Like that was the Saban tact to life. Like it takes what it takes. Do the little things, like right seats on the bus at the right time, heading to the right game. Like that's how Nick Saban did things. And I love that Sumrall has that energy. And I feel like we just don't hear that a lot right now. Like I'm not hearing that type of mentality out of Kirby or Ryan Day. Like I'm hearing more nonsense out of Dabo right now about like, let me see if we still have this. Like listening to, let's see, do we still have, let's see. Nah, it looks like I don't have it anymore. It was too long ago. But I'm hearing more out of Dabo about tampering this and we're victims and, oh man, like this and that. Like, dude, stop complaining. Pay the kids their money, hold them to a certain expectation, and go out and win ball games, man. At the end of the day, you're still playing college football, and you're either going to choose to meddle in these issues or you're going to choose to hold these kids accountable and you know, play at a certain standard. Like I can't tell you how many times I hear conversations at the workplace or in my circles where people are like, oh, Bob did this and Bob did that, and he's a complainer and he does this, and I can't believe he asked me to do that. And all I have to say is like, dude, you can either play in the emotions and the drama and you can bitch and moan and you can complain, or you can say, you know what? Like, I don't really care what Bob, the 5-star recruit's got to say about practice today. Dude's going to practice, or dude's going to sit his ass on the bench till he finds a new home in the portal when the portal window opens again. And that's what I feel like Sumrall is doing here. Sumrall is saying, hey, man, excuses are out the window. You're getting paid. You're essentially a pro athlete now. Go do a job. So I just wanted to make sure I got that out today, because on a day where the show's a little different, had some technical issues, I really wanted to get to that today, and I really wanted to pump that up because I really feel like we need more of that in college football. 100,000%, we need more of that. Mike Smith, between the money and the bouncing around from team to team, yeah, the players have it easier. At least some of these guys will make some money to help in life, as some will never be in the NFL, which again is another great point. If you're a non-NFL guy, like if you're a kid who maybe maybe college football isn't like your life. Like, yes, you're a college football player at Florida. Maybe you're a second or third stringer. Maybe you're, a guy that can contribute once or twice a season, but you're not an NFL talent, but you found a way to get NIL. You better not be complaining. Like, you better not be bitching and moaning about having to run or lift weights or watch film or eat the correct way or go to sleep the correct way or whatever it might be. Like, you're making money playing a child's game. Don't lose sight of that, man. Don't lose sight of that, bro. Like, don't do it, man. Jimmy, I'm saying this is a good show. You could strike out on your own. I'm being complimentary. I know you're not leaving the show like the Mad Dog did. Yeah, dude. I appreciate that, Jimmy. It's hard to tell. Like, obviously it's a comment. I can't tell which way you're swinging with it. So I appreciate you saying that, man. I think that the dynamic between the two of us is goated and undefeated, which is why we're pushing 210,000 subs on YouTube and why the show has, grown in the way it has, and it's done things it has, and it's been in different formats over the last probably, it must have been really since like maybe 2015-ish that we've been doing the show in different forms and fashion. At one point it was on radio, won an award in Phoenix for the best talk show in Phoenix at one point. Then we were on a platform called Periscope that was run through the old Twitter before Elon, the space rocket guy, took over. Periscope got basically deleted off of Twitter, so then we migrated to YouTube, and it's just been kind of a natural maturation of the show. And I've gotten better. Monty's gotten better. Like, we've kind of figured it out. So I appreciate the compliment, dude. I really do. We work hard on it. It it takes time, but you figure out your process and you get better, dude. Absolutely, dude. Let's see a couple more and then we'll get out of here. Dabo has turned into whiner Spurrier 2.0. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, Spurrier was always known as that guy who was a legendary college football coach, but there is no question that the complaining and the whole like I understand what Dabo was saying about the tampering, right? Like, I get that it was like, hey,
tampering 101,
101,
tampering 201, tampering 301.
Like, dude, I get it, bro.
Come on, dude.
Like, I understand that you're upset that Ole Miss got after that ass. The problem is that you're the one that's trying to be like holier than thou. You're the one that's saying, hey, well, dude, like, we would never do it this way. Like, bro, they're coming after our best linebacker right now. Like, like Luke Farrelly is like the best player that ever known to man. Like, no, he's not, dude. Is he a great player? Sure. But you're Clemson, bro. Like, why, Dabo, riddle me this, dude. Why is it that you're constantly bitching and moaning about the portal and NIL and, getting kids in and kids out and like getting a roster built? And Ole Miss is just over here burning through head coaches like Lane Kiffin and burning through talent and trying to figure it out. Do I agree that Ole Miss did some shady stuff under the new regime? Absolutely. 100%. Probably not great form. But at the same time, like, honest to God, I'd rather have a head coach where I got to say, hey, dude, we got to reel this in a little bit. Like, I understand you got to get after it. You got to tamper. But, like, let's stay at tampering 101 here.
Tampering 101.
Let's not graduate to tampering 301. Okay, let's not be so in their face about it where the suits and the lawyers have to get involved. Let's just stay in a place where we're, like, texting the kid on the side and, like, offering some money and that kind of deal. I can get down with that conversation, but I am firmly in the camp of John Summerall and coaches that have his messaging, like the Signettis of the world, these guys that are like, hey, it's very black and white. You're doing the job or you're not doing the job, and the money doesn't, provide this built-in excuse to not do things. That's the side of the line I fall on. And to me, it's very black and white, line in the sand. You're on this side or you're on that side. And Dabo is very much on the excuse maker victimhood side. And frankly, he's been on that side since Fivehead was part of Clemson and they were winning national championships. Because notice, Fivehead went to the league, you lost ATN, you lost your talent, and you haven't been the same guy since. And you've spent more time in your plaid Clemson shirt, going on rants about tampering 872.
Tampering 301.
Then you have, affecting change at Clemson and winning football games. So that's why I get frustrated with Dabo, because it's like you're literally sitting here talking about tampering and all these issues, but the reality is the system that's been built or sort of created here is what facilitates that very same issue you're bitching about. So the truth is, Dabo, and any coach who is not active in the portal right now, whether the window's open or not, you're the one that's behind the curve. As right or wrong as that is, it's just the truth right now. So miss me with the holier than thou, God, we gotta do things the right way. No, Dabo, there is what's right and then what has to be done. And Ole Miss is definitely playing in the middle of that, and you need to get on board. And I'm just tired of hearing about that crap out of Dabo, dude. It's just ridiculous, bro. Mapes, be careful transferring out because it's too hard. 40% of the guys that enter the portal never get signed. Agreed, right? Like, if you get in the portal because it was too hard, like, what happens if you don't find a new home? And this question did get brought up, and I think it's a fair one. Well, what happens if you're a kid that hops in the portal and then the window closes? A bunch of people, like, and I don't have a number, but like when I say a bunch of people, like a lot of people in the college football world thought it was, hey, get in the portal, window closes, your season's over, you can't join another team. No, that's not the case, dude. When you get in the portal, the window to get in the portal closes, but you sitting in the portal unsigned is an indefinite dead space. Like, you could sit in the portal for years, like until your eligibility runs out, which theoretically, if you don't play again, I guess it doesn't. But you could theoretically be a guy that is not valued, isn't making any noise, and you're going to wind up being in like a Kaepernick-esque situation where you're having to be practicing, putting out tape, basically selling that you're still available, even though you're just sitting here, no longer in playing shape, rotting. So again, I just think if you're a parent of a kid right now, the message has to be, dude, wait your turn, right? Look at Ty Simpson. Had to wait 2 years or whatever it was to get his turn on the field. And yeah, flamed out a little bit there at the end. I believe he got benched. I don't think he was hurt. I think they benched him, but my opinion, flamed out a little bit, but it's going to the league. Like, it's fine. You can find your way if you're just willing to put in the work, grind your ass off, and be humble about your position and things. Your time will come, dude. Yes, Jeremiah, I agree. Dude, hit that like button. Absolutely, Matt Muldoon. You and your dog did great flying solo. Yeah, dog held it down. Couldn't have done it without the dog. Dog really made a difference here. Button pusher, content creator. Really made a big difference today. Let's see. Oh, the mayor of Monty Town. Nice of you to show up, dude. You missed my best show of the year right here, bro. And it's only February 18th. Then you went to Monty's basement where you talked about your dog's ass vacuum and unfortunately had to swoop on your back shelf. Yeah, I know. Swoop was on the back shelf. I get it, dude. I absolutely get it, dude. Let's see. Just a couple more here. Let's see. Chad Schultz. I could see Dabo complaining if Ole Miss tampered and got Trevor Lawrence when he was there, but come on, it's a random linebacker. Well, see, and that's a fair point, Chad. It is. Luke Farrelly is a rather, random name, but for Dabo, bro, Dabo was after him, dude. Like, Dabo and Luke Farrelly were boys. And I say that because if you go and look through Clemson's social media, you go on Twitter, you look at Luke's Twitter. Well, I think he might have deleted it or made it private at one point through the drama. I'd have to check if it was public again, but you go and look and do your homework on Clemson. Dude, Dabo and Luke were close, bro. Like, there's no denying it. So I agree that it's a rather random pull, but at some point, Dabo is going to have to get on the train, dude. There is no question about it, bro. Phenomenal Hebrew, our Penn State brethren, who's sometimes here when Penn State is not being talked about. Love you, bro. Good job, Jake. Tulane is going to miss Summerall. Yeah. I mean, listen, there's a reason Tulane was good, right? I think that John was prolific in that program, and it's why I think it's a great hire for Florida. I think that John Summerall, as corny as bro may be, as many times as he may drop a guy in the tunnel after dude is like, yeah, I'm committing to your program, John, get me my Gator head. I like the messaging. I like the energy. I think that college football needs that younger head coach to really kind of step forward. Did Monty text Jake after he got booted? Yeah, he reached out, said that his internet went out. And that happens sometimes, dude. Like, I've had it happen to me where, like, I'll be in the middle of the take and the internet just cuts and you're screwed. Like, that's just what it is. And I look at it and I say, yeah, our reliance on the internet's probably not a good thing, dude. Not a good thing at all, even a little bit. Jeremy Bolton, I've been listening for a while. Great job riding solo today. Great show. Way to hold down the fort, way to hold the fort down. 2 shakes. Yeah. So that's it. Wrapping this thing up. Really appreciate you guys holding in while we dealt with some of these issues. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm sure the internet will get fixed today at some point. Really appreciate you guys. Please hit the like button. Please look at the shorts. We're making more shorts. Trying to give you short form content that is a little more entertaining through your day. So don't be scared to go and hit the like button on that. And I guess I'm saying this today. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake. Goodbye, Jake.